For this new series of The Big Match Revisited, we're going back to 1979-80, when an industrial strike meant the ITV cameras had to wait until late October to show their first game. But host Brian Moore was able to enjoy a Glenn Hoddle masterclass at White Hart Lane.
And welcome again to The Big Match after so long. It really is good to be back with you again. And as luck would have it, we've got 3 fine games to celebrate our return, all of them from the First Division. Our main match is London's top game as Spurs take on Nottingham Forest. We're going to support that one with an explosive Midlands clash between Wolves and Aston Villa. And from the south coast, Brighton against Norwich City. So there are plenty of goals, a lot of excitement, and in these games 3 players were sent off. And we should also be talking to Glenn Hoddle of Tottenham, who's our studio guest today, 22 yesterday. Also today, a new feature where we go back 10 years to October 1969 to seek out some of the headline makers of a decade ago. A month when Chelsea met Arsenal at Stamford Bridge. You can enjoy those goals again. But now let's start with Spurs against Forest at White Hart Lane.
Well, our thanks to Spurs for that welcome, and indeed what a day it is to be here at White Hart Lane with the sun beaming down, the perfect setting for this game between Spurs and the European champions Nottingham Forest. A day when the goalkeepers are sharply into focus. Milja Alexic comes into the Tottenham side for the first time this season. He replaces the injured Barry Daines, while at the other end Peter Shilton, along with Ray Clements, the best in the land, makes a formidable barrier for the Tottenham strike force today. And in the outfield, Glenn Hoddle, last week an emergency goalkeeper himself when Daines was injured during the victory at Leeds. Glenn, who is second top scorer in the First Division with 8 goals. The top scorer is Tony Woodcock of Nottingham Forest. He's got 10 goals this season, and alongside him is Trevor Francis, who, like Woodcock, scored twice for England in Belfast, but was not eligible for the midweek European Cup game. This then is the Spurs side, and they've really begun to find some impressive form. They've not been beaten in their last 6 games, but with Paul Miller suspended after being sent off last week at Leeds, Don McAllister comes into the centre of the defence, and Gordon Smith gets his 5th game of the season at number 3. As for Nottingham Forest, manager Brian Clough delayed naming his side until an hour ago. The only change is in the side that beat the Romanians in the European Cup in midweek is that Francis is there in the attack, with Ian Bowyer dropping down to sub. Forest won 3-1 here last season. The referee is Tom Bune of Surrey, and the crowd is a boisterous and a noisy one. And here comes the man of the moment, Brian Clough, followed by Peter Taylor. He got a tremendous reception when he came out of White Hart Lane last season. A few boos around the crowd today, but I think overall the crowd are as pleased to see him now as they were then. And so Spurs get us away in their white shirts, attacking the goal to our left. Forest in the all-dark strip of red. Chris Jones just touching it off there. Spurs, who in fact have not been beaten here at White Hart Lane since the opening game of the season against Middlesbrough. And an offside flag on this side of the field. And Jerry Armstrong will have to come back. Jerry Armstrong, in fact, who's had quite a week. He was in hospital on Monday to have 4 wisdom teeth extracted. He only came out of hospital on Thursday. His dental surgeon is here today. He had to have an inspection before the game and will also have one afterwards. So quite a week for him. The ball now with Viv Anderson for Nottingham Forest. He scored here last season, clipped forward, McAllister getting it away. There's a big job really for McAllister this afternoon. Keith Birkinshaw, the Spurs manager, pleased the way that Spurs had tightened up in defence from the early weeks of the season. But now without Paul Miller, it means that McAllister will have quite a task facing Woodcock and Francis. The challenge there by Spurs was a strong one, and it gets Jones on his way. Ardiles has gone ahead of him. Hoddle will take it up though. A lovely ball flicked out here for Villa, and stopped momentarily at any rate by Anderson. Ardiles is doing his best to keep possession. The whistle's gone, a free kick for Tottenham. It'll be taken by Hoddle. Shilton wanting that wall lined up properly. Jones was leading the ball in there, and Armstrong's header falling quite gently Well, you can see Shilton there saying that he wanted 3 in that wall, and I suppose he's feeling he didn't get 3 quite the way he wanted it. Frankie Gray. Kenny Burns. And that surely is offside. Yes, Francis caught a good 3 or 4 yards offside. Well, we've spoken about it being Glenn Hoddle's 22nd birthday today. There's another birthday boy on the field today. There he is, Frankie Gray, formerly of Leeds United, 25 today. Alexic. Mary Lloyd underneath this one, but beaten in the air by Jones. Armstrong's coming in there. Oh! Tremendous goal by Hoddle. 1-0 to Tottenham with a little under 3 minutes gone. A tremendous goal there by Hoddle, and Shilton really had no chance whatsoever. The long ball really, with Lloyd in a bit of trouble under pressure from Jerry Armstrong, and how invitingly that ball fell for Hoddle, and what a shot. Spurs 1, Nottingham Forest 0. And the scorer, Glenn Hoddle, making him 9 for the season. What a season he's having too. Bertels. But the most dangerous thing would be to underestimate the powers of recovery of this really excellent Nottingham Forest side. Here's Anderson. Francis going on ahead of him, and here's Trevor Francis. And it'll come now for McGovern. Will it come for Bertels with a chance to score? Oh, my word, how close he was. In fact, there was a flag up on the far side, presumably for an offside against Gary Bertels. But an indication there certainly as to how dangerous Forest could be when they come forward. Francis right in the middle of it, and Bertels agonisingly wide, even though the flag was up. Hoddle with the throw. Now Yorath. Villa. Oh, that might come again. In fact, it was Jones right in there when that was hard stopped. But here are Forest now with Trevor Francis. Anderson. Too high for Bertels. McAllister the simple ball back. Kenny Burns winning that in the air, but not really decisively, and then beaten the next time by Armstrong. Oh, somebody's boot went flying there. Kenny Burns' boot, in fact, but it's a free kick nonetheless against Nottingham Forest. Quarter of an hour gone, 1-0 to Tottenham. Again, Hoddle and Yorath are over the ball. There are 4 men in the wall this time. Ball a little squarer than before. The position is Houghton coming in for it as well. Hoddle with a shot, hit the post. What a beautifully taken free kick, and that quite caught Forest out. And Hoddle really let rip with that one, and he hit the post. Kenny Burns versus Chris Jones. Still playing it on there for Lloyd, got that away well. Here's Ardiles with a header. Yorath battling away in the midfield. Kenny Burns hitting it straight at Ardiles. And a beautiful ball by Ardiles for Jones. Oh, across the face of that Forest goal again. And that could so easily have been a second goal. But what a ball it was from Ardiles. But put Jones clear. Angle not an easy one, of course, but it really only needed a touch, and Forest escaped. Great work again by the little Argentinian, though. doubt about it at the moment. Spurs clearly with the upper hand. Scored one, hit the post, and might easily have had a second one just a moment ago. Forest as yet without a clear chance having been created. Yorath forward again, and Lloyd getting it away. Now Woodcock with Birtles through the middle. Look at the acceleration here of Woodcock. This could be dangerous. Pulled back a little too far. Robertson might get there. Alexi has come out, played across the goal there. Could still come out because Yorath hasn't cleared it. Brought down, no penalty against Francis by Velia. And I think Forest will be a little surprised at that. Well, that certainly looked a penalty. And again, the game allowed to go on there by the referee, and as Ardiles takes it up, played in again towards Jones, and Forest are happy to hook that one away. Francis once more. Really is all action here at White Hart Lane as Velia takes it up once more. There was a danger that Ardiles was offside. That's why Velia played it for Yorath, and now turned instead for Hoddle. And this is where the danger so often is coming from. Houghton now with a nice little cross coming in. Too high there for Armstrong, but Jones! No offside. The linesman didn't flag it, but the referee saw a handball. The referee says handball, and the goal disallowed. Chris Jones prepared to dispute the point, but there's the incident coming up, and there it is that the referee said there was a handball, even though the ball went past Shilton. Well, two very debatable decisions there by the referee, which he gave very firmly, just as we look back a minute or so ago, when Francis was brought down by Velia. We'll see that again there, and on that occasion the referee said no penalty. Gary Mills. Gray playing it onside. Birtles, well, he looked offside to me. The linesman kept his flag down. Birtles flicking it just wide. In fact, Ardiles going across to the linesman to have a word with him, and it was interesting that the referee followed Ardiles out there and said, hey, watch what you're saying. Well, the linesman kept his flag down when Birtles went through, looked offside. It was wide. A nice ball there for Armstrong. Now can he get past Frankie Gray? No, but it's a corner. With about 7.5 minutes to go to half-time. Outside the box, but it's coming towards him, and he's making his run, and it'll come maybe to Velia. Oh, there was a chance opening up for Tottenham there, and they've got another corner. I think Forrest may have been watching McAllister there, but it floated over his head, and Velia's shot deflected away for this corner. So Anderson at the near post, Chris Jones right in there, Kenny Burns on the line as well. Played short this time by Velia to Ardiles. Velia again with a little chip in there. That time it was Gray getting it away as far as Yorath, and the shot is over the bar for a goal kick. Anderson, Woodcock. Haven't really quite hit it off, those two at the moment, of Woodcock and Francis. Smith. Ardiles. Jones coming hard for this one, but Kenny Burns and Ardiles getting involved there, and Velia getting involved with Burns, and a bit of a rough and tumble developing there, really from what was, it seemed an innocent situation. Kenny Burns lifting his shirt to show where Ardiles' boot had gone, but it looked to me a quite ordinary rough and tumble as two fellas went for the ball. The referee having a word with the Argentinian, and a word with Kenny Burns as well, and with Velia. And giving a free kick to Nottingham Forest. What an explosive little moment there when really it seemed just quite a commonplace rough and tumble for the ball. But it produces a free kick for Tottenham. And again, Hoddle and Yorath are standing over it. Jones has made a run. Hoddle's not happy with it, gets them back again. And now floats one in there, and Shilton watching that like a hawk the whole way. But should go just wide of the post. So brilliant with his free kicks is Hoddle. There are so many variations open to Spurs because of his great skill. Here he is again, but losing out that time as the ball is swept by Mills for Anderson. On now for Francis. Cut inside nicely. Anderson on his way. Ardiles going back there and getting back strongly and aggressively enough to put the Forest full back off his stroke. And I must say, one of the features of this Spurs performance in this first half has been the work of this fellow Ardiles. I think he came as an artistic little player with some nice touches, but he's added so much running and so much strength to his game, I think, since he's been here. Just playing the ball around there, but then I thought for a moment they'd given it away. And right in front of the referee, a foul on Chris Jones by Larry Lloyd. A free kick for Tottenham. A badly timed tackle, really, no more, but the pain must have been pretty intense on Jones's ankle, I would have thought. A free kick for Tottenham. Time enough to take it, but not much else. The ankles, as far as one can tell, in reasonable trim as Yorath now steps up to take this free kick for Tottenham. Played short for Hoddle. Armstrong, Ardiles. That was a rather extravagant hope, and as you can see just there that Chris Jones was wanting something lifted into the box for him, but Ardiles saw something else and it didn't come off. A really good first half for Spurs, full of really good aggressive teamwork and no little skill as well, and of course a goal of superb proportions by Glenn Hoddle, with less than 3 minutes gone, celebrating his 22nd birthday today. And my word, that's the way to do it in style. The crowd applauding as Spurs go off. Ardiles has worked and covered every blade of the ground almost. And indeed every man-jack on that Spurs side deserves the applause as they go off. They're leading Nottingham Forest a goal to nil. It might have been more. But the half-time score at White Hart Lane then is Tottenham 1, Nottingham Forest 0. Welcome back to White Hart Lane then, as we prepare for the start of the second half. Forest now attacking the goal to our left, which indeed they have to do. This goal down scored by Glenn Hoddle after 3 minutes of the first half. Here's Hoddle straight away. Lovely, delicate little ball played there for Jerry Armstrong. Will come for Villa. And now for Yorath. Hoddle again. Clipped in first time and away by Gray. Houghton. Oh, what a good ball for Armstrong in a bit of space. Driven in low. Well, that was a good idea on the variation, but it came off Larry Lloyd and behind for the corner. His face still a little swollen, Jerry Armstrong, from all those wisdom teeth extracted. But a lovely ball from Chris Houghton, whose brother Henry, of course, is a professional with Orient. Forest, in fact, haven't won away from home since September the 1st. They've lost at Norwich and at Manchester City in that time. Now facing this deficit here as Hoddle takes his corner. A very deep one towards Jerry Armstrong. Played out now as far as Villa. Charged down by Anderson. Well, McAllister, he found the ball and then lost it. Found it again. Played this time for Armstrong. And Anderson did a good bit of defending there because he was a little bit caught out. Might have got a smack in the face at the same time. But But Spurs picking it up where they left off at the end of the first half. Very much deserving their lead as Hoddle now chips it in. And the ball just wouldn't bounce far enough forward there for Jerry Armstrong when it looked as though it might be most inviting for him. And Forest get it away. But it's a throw which our dealers will take. Jones jockeying. Well, it looks as though there was no space at all there, but he found some. Well, and who should be guilty of a miss like that? Well, Jones set it up, and Glenn Hoddle, of all people, missed the chance. And our dealers now taking it up. Short for Yorath. Will he try a blast? No, it's too late for that. Instead of that, he finds Hoddle. Now, what will happen? What will happen? It's a little chip this time for Armstrong, but no power. But again, a delightful exhibition of skill from Glenn Hoddle, surrounded by red shirts, kicked his head, found the skill to find Jerry Armstrong. Really delightful piece of play again by Hoddle. Now it's Villa. Free kick to Forest. And they're taking off. Jerry Armstrong is coming off. But the game is in progress. And it'll be Colin Lee, the substitute, who comes on. But here's Armstrong at the moment. This might be the last little bit of action he's involved in before he goes off. But what if he were to score? Well, it's played for Villa. Getting to the byline. Back it comes again, and well, it was aiming towards Armstrong, but instead it's with Yorath, and a good save there. In fact, Shilton made it look easy. He anticipated it so well. Yorath, Ardiles. Houghton, and the ball out of play, and now Jerry Armstrong will go off. A few of the crowd are booing, but maybe they don't appreciate all the facts, and certainly he's performed marvellously for a fellow who's had such a difficult week. And Colin Lee comes on. Ardiles. Getting in there, but only deflecting it to Villa. Perryman. Chris Houghton with the throw. Osvaldo Ardiles, Houghton, Glenn Hoddle. Linesman flagging, referee acknowledging it and waving it on with Nottingham Forest in possession. Francis slicing it through there now for Gary Mills. Anderson coming up in support. But Mills might have a problem yet with Gordon Smith. Well, he still got it in, and it took Yorath to get it away. Colin Lee, his first touch. And a bit of room now for Villa. Whoa! Well, and Villa not at all happy with that. Kenny Burns, it was a rash challenge, and Glenn Hoddle with his arms around him because I think he feared what Villa might do. What a fantastic clash that was as they went in. A yellow card for Kenny Burns. And Villa, you can see, is saying, look how high his feet were. And our dealer is saying, well, you really should do something about it. The referee, in fact, has given the yellow card to Kenny Burns, who was hell bent on getting that ball. And if they are Villa's legs, well, there are still two of them there. And he's got an enormous hole in his sock, as you can see. And that's what the Kenny Burns challenge did. Hoddle. Oh! Oh, Shilton had to be alive to that down by the post again. Hoddle almost out of nothing. Getting a good shot in, saved by Shilton. victory for Spurs, who are coming back hard in the First Division now. 7 games without defeat, and a performance here that really proves that they are on their way back. There's no doubt whatsoever about that as Velia plays it forward, and it comes again to Shilton. The skill and the aggression have been there, finely mixed, and it's been a balance overall that has proved too much for Tottenham, for Nottingham Forest. Unless Mills in these last seconds, unless Forest from this corner conceded by Osvaldo Ardiles, unless Brian Clough's men can come back and do something here. Robertson then with the corner, floated in once more, off Perryman's head, towards Gary Mills, an overhead by Burns, and a goal kick. And one of the few scares that Tottenham have had in the whole 90 minutes. I think Alexic might well elect to belt this ball up into the midfield, and I think that might be the final kick of the game. Indeed it is. Spurs have beaten the European champions Nottingham Forest by a goal to nil. A memorable goal by Glenn Hoddle on his 22nd birthday. But overall, a performance that Spurs can truly be proud of. Tottenham are back. The crowd were chanting a few minutes ago. And after a performance like that, well, there's no doubt whatsoever that they are making the right sort of progress as Brian Clough and Peter Taylor come off the field. I think they, above all, would concede that on the day they've been beaten by a better side, Forest never allowed to get into their stride, as Spurs mixed aggression with skill, and it proved too much for Brian Clough and his men. And a final scoreline then here at White Hart Lane. It's Spurs 1, Nottingham Forest 0.
Well, a fine win for Spurs, no doubt about that. It knocked Forest off the top of the table. With Manchester United drawing at Everton, they go to first place now. And just look at Spurs there, lying 7th. 7 games without defeat now, thoroughly deserving that win. A marvellous birthday goal for our guest today, Glenn Hoddle. Great way to celebrate.
Yes, very, very good. I was very pleased with it.
In fact, I noticed that Brian Clough, no less, has described it as a World Cup goal.
Well, obviously I was pleased with it, and I don't think he was that pleased really, because you know, early in the game going against him. But you know, it's.
I think he was telling me afterwards that he was surprised at the tempo of the game, the way that Spurs had played.
Yeah, I think we started off very, very quick, and we harassed them, and we didn't let them settle at all. And the quick goal obviously did help us, and we seemed to settle down quite
But
quickly.
it wasn't just a hustling performance, because you showed so much skill right through the side.
Yes, I think we're confident now, looking at the top teams, and I think we believe in ourselves that we're as good as most of them at the top. And I think it's just that we have to bring this hustling and closing down teams into our game. I think we'll be okay then.
But as a midfield player, you're now getting a real ration of goals. I think it's 9 this season now. Do you feel you're a more complete player this season?
Obviously I'm pleased with the way things have gone this season. The goals have been funny how they've come about, really. I haven't sort of set myself out to score any more goals at the beginning of the season. It's just happened. I haven't really had a knock-in yet as such, but I've had to work hard for my goals really this season.
Before we talk some more about your goals, I want to see let you see what Keith Birkinshaw, your manager, said about you when I spoke to him about your new form after the game yesterday.
Yeah, he's a little bit strong-willed, Glenn, and it's been a little bit of a battle of wills. But
between you and him?
Yeah. Well, yes, and I think that he's now seen that this is going to be the best policy, and I can't think of any better midfield player in the country at present.
No, the crowd shout Hoddle for England.
Yeah, well, I only hope that Ron Green was watching this tomorrow.
Well, I think Ron's quite aware of your capabilities. You're a regular in the under-21 side. But what's this about a battle of wills between you and Keith?
I think he was on about you know, the game that it doesn't come natural to me is my defensive side of the game, and I think I've worked on it, and he's always been getting on to me ever since I was, you know, he come to the club really, and I think I'm just beginning to get hold of it and realise that you know, it's a big part of the game to help the rest of the lads out in the team.
You're talking about not getting any tap-ins. I think you've already been goal of the month on Match of the Day already. I think the one you got yesterday is going to qualify for one of our golden goals at the end of the season. You ought just to have a look at it again, I think, then I'm sure that'll be no punishment for you. And in fact, I think from the moment Melia hits the ball here, I don't think it touches the ground again before it's in the back of the net. Tell us about your part in it now and how
I
you
was
saw
just
it.
making a run there, and I shouted to Jerry there, and he said that he couldn't see me, but he heard me, and just nodded it back, and I come in and volleyed it.
Did it go just to Shilton's right, did it?
Yeah, a little bit to his right. I don't think he thought I was going to shoot, actually, because I was being closed down.
I think Peter claims he actually got a hand to it as well.
Did he? Oh.
But 7th in the table now. I mean, that seems amazing after that wobbly old start.
Yeah, we started bad, you know, and we were at the bottom. Everybody was criticising us a little bit. But I think the thing is, Keith believes in the team, and the lads now believing that we can play as well. We know we can play as well as most sides, and that seemed to have got us through.
One last bit of news, I think, which will delight all Spurs fans. There's another Hoddle at Tottenham now in this last week. Your brother Carl, who's 12. Tell me
Yes,
just briefly
right.
about him.
Well, Carl started training down there last week, and he played his first practice match at Cheshunt in the week, in the half term, and I just hope that he can follow my footsteps.
I hope he can.
Yeah.
Happy birthday for yesterday, and it's a good way to celebrate. I think we should remind you once or twice of that when we see that beautiful goals of yours.
Thank you very much.
Again. Glenn, thanks a lot. It's time for a break now, and after it, that explosive match between Wolves and Aston Villa, and the 6-goals thriller between Brighton and Norwich. And as we go back 10 years, we're going to feature, amongst others, this Tottenham teammate of Glenn Hoddle's. We'll be back. For our second match today, we go to Molineux for Wolves, who began the day in 4th place against Aston Villa, who seem to be having problems both on and off the field this season. And of course, it was the day when Andy Gray, the man who cost Wolves £1.5 million, played against his old club. The pictures come from ATV. The commentator's Hugh Johns. Wolves are in the black shorts.
Aston Villa, claret shirts, white shorts. But clearance then by Evans really gifted the ball to John Richards. Wolves, those gold jerseys and the black shorts sweeping down to our left through John Richards in this moment. Chip in, Peter Daniel down, looking for Richards again. Got the shot in. Oh, and Willie Carr Andy Gray just over the bar. Well, first immediate chance of the game inside the first minute. It was that man Andy Gray who very nearly got on the end of things. Oh, you can see it again here now. Gray just got there ahead of Rimmer, but over the bar. And Hughes rolls that off to Parkin. Hughes. Daniel helps it on, comes down to Gray. There's the goal. There's the goal for Andy Gray. The one thing that Aston Villa must have feared. Andy Gray would score against his old club. So when the ball comes across the face of the goals, Peter Daniel gets a little helping head onto it, drops down to Andy Gray, the sort of chance that he'd been dying for, and he took so gleefully. Gray with this free kick. That looked like a foul. It's the referee playing advantage as it comes off to Gray and to Hibbett. It'll come back to Gray. Square across the face of the Will goal. Off to Palmer now. And Richards. Oh, super save. Lovely bit of football. Hard luck, John Richards. Well played, Jimmy Rimmer. That really was a bit special. Lovely ball in. Lovely ball in from Jeff Palmer. Richards launching himself knee-high to get the header. And Jimmy Rimmer reacting with a beautiful one-handed save. Wanting the build-up to come from Thomas. The chip on for Andy Gray. Back to Carr. Parkin has stayed up there to join in the attack. The cross in, and here comes Hibbett. Well, it looks so simple, didn't it? The build-up from the left side. Parkin looking up, dropping the ball almost into space, and Hibbett losing Gibson as he came in to attack it. And Parkin. Cut out by Swain. Coward's good ball. Geddes. Picks out Gibson. Gibson attacks Palmer. Gets Puts it on the left peg, gets the shot in, and he's not so very far away. Colin Gibson favours the left foot. Took a little time before he was able to set the chance up for himself. See him now as he advances to take on Palmer. Dummies inside, then drags it away outside onto that favourite left foot of his, and his shot across the face of the goals isn't too far away. Richards helps it on. Swain is there for Villa. Thomas chasing back at him. Berry just got there in time. Warner onto Shaw, the drive, and that was a fine goal. What a beautiful equaliser. Gary Shaw. Oh, he's entitled to be very, very pleased about that. A young player showing experience here. That ball in from Swain. Berry just failed to get it clear. There's Mortimer. Nicks it off to Shaw, has a look up, have a piece of that, he says. Bradshaw's fingertips, 1-1. Richards getting this one on to Gray, and he's in for number 2, surely. No! Well done, Rimmer. Andy Gray checked, saw Rimmer coming, tried to chip him, and Rimmer beat him to the punch. Richards in a real punch-up then. The linesman is in. Ormsby looking as though he's got blood coming from his mouth. Mr. Chris Spruce of Lichfield, who's been in long conversation, and it looks very much as though number 5, Ormsby, is going to go off. Well, it looks very much as though that little bundle between Ormsby and Richards means a red card for Brendan Ormsby, and there's a red card for John Richards. Yes, it's John Richards sent away from the far side. Referee Lloyd figures that there were 2 guilty partners there.
So let's look again at that slightly more revealing angle as to why those 2 players were sent off. Clash as they jump here, and it's an elbow by John Richards into the face of Ormsby, the 18-year-old Villa defender. It broke his nose, in fact. You don't really know what's been going on earlier in the game, but the referee may have spoken to them about their clashing, but there's no doubt also that Ormsby hit John Richards there, and in the referee's view, who was well placed, he said they both had to go. All right, time to move away now from this week's action, because now a new and a regular feature on the big match, when we're going to go back 10 years to see what was happening in the world of football in 1969. And it really is amazing just how much has changed in the game in the past decade, not least in the way that this programme began. Days. But who was in the news that month in October 1969? Well, it was a month when Steve Perryman, who we saw in action today, was 17. Steve had just made his first appearance for Spurs with that stupendous haircut of his, and was among 50 youngsters called up for England youth training that month. And sticking with Spurs, this month they registered their first home win of the season. Jimmy Greaves scored twice as they beat Newcastle United. In October 1969, rumblings at West Ham. Martin Peters says, "My career is being dwarfed by Bobby Moore and Jeff Hurst, and I want to leave." But manager Ron Greenwood says all of football knows it's unthinkable that we would sell him. And rumblings too at Southampton. 20-year-old Mike Shannon seeks a showdown with manager Ted Bates. After being dropped, Mike says, "I've got to face the fact that I don't seem to fit into the system or the setup at Southampton." Also in October 1969, we covered a First Division derby game between Chelsea and Arsenal at Stamford Bridge before they built the new stand. Chelsea in the dark strip.
Birchenall laying it off for Baldwin, but so many red shirts are there. Here's Cook. Baldwin playing it off, beautiful. Cook. Oscar in the middle and Birchenall too. Going in. Great goal by Birchenall. Wonderful goal for Chelsea. Houseman with a corner, low. Samuel's missing his kick. Dempsey trying to get in. Houseman again. Pumping it through. Good save. Birchenall. Number 2. Short to Hollins. Now Cook again. Cook! There was definitely a deflection, but it was shot there by Charlie Cook.
And with the commentator shouting a bit, it finished 3-0 to Chelsea. Our last match today, and it's Brighton against Norwich City. Brighton one off the bottom. Norwich, who've had their spell this season, right at the top. Stand by for the goals then as we join the cameras of Southern Television. The commentator is David Bobin. Brighton are in the stripes.
Reeves. Goebel. The Downs making overlap down the left, but it's not needed. Padden to Reeves, and there's some nice play coming in here from Norwich in these early stages, and that's a lovely chip, and it's there! Steve Goebel. Steve Goebel was the scorer. He saw Graham Mosley was off his line, and when the ball was knocked back to him, a lovely little chip over Mosley, who was stranded out of his goal. Made no mistake, and so Norwich go into the lead, and Brighton at this stage are a goal down. Gary Stevens with the corner. Rollings. Foster was there, but Fashanu got the right header. O'Sullivan. Yes, this is Ryan. And what a marvellous interception that was by Kevin Reeves, because Ryan for a moment had a chance to shoot them level. And it was a brilliant tackle from Kevin Reeves. So often you see a forward back helping out his defence, and perhaps he's not always up to it, but that was certainly a timely interception by Kevin Reeves. But it's a corner. And there's no flag. The defenders of the Norwich City side looking at each other. But Steve Foster scoring his first goal for Brighton since his move from Portsmouth. What a marvellous moment for the lad who came here in the close season. The ball was knocked over from that corner. A little bit of a mix-up between Keelan and his defenders. When it came down, there was Steve Foster on hand to blast it into the back of the net from close range, and Brighton are level. Ward to Sayer. Sullivan, nice little left-foot touch from him. Sullivan able to pick that one up nicely. Well, Stevens showed some nice close control then, and he's done very well to lose Downs, and he gets the cross in. Oh yes, what a lovely move! What a beautiful goal that was for Brighton. Jerry Ryan puts Brighton in front, and Norwich don't know what's hit them. It all started with that marvellous bit of close control by Gary Stevens. He did beautifully to elude the challenge from Downs, and the cross was fair hammered in by Jerry Ryan, and so Brighton are in front, and deservedly so. Padden for Norwich, with Goebel on the left, back to Padden. Peters on a long run through up front. This is Reeves. Downs thought of the shot, and in the end elects to put it back to Goebel. Interesting cross, and Fashanu was only just away from that one, and the shot from Bond charged down. Downs. Fashanu again, mistiming his leap, and Padden scored. Well, this is really a remarkable game. Norwich have hit back in the best possible way, and Graham Padden levels it off at 2-2. We saw the shot blocked, it came out, and when it ran free to Graham Padden, he hit it through a whole stack of players. Mosley must have been unsighted, and suddenly Norwich are back in the game at 2-2. Goebel. Oh, that's dangerous. in there. It's in there from Alan Taylor. And again, we've seen that lack of cohesive cover at the back has given Norwich a chance. And Brighton have paid dearly for it. The ball was bouncing around loose, and Alan Taylor saw his chance, and really Mosley couldn't be expected to stop that one. Fashanu and Rollins together again, and really something of a nasty incident there between Andy Rollins and Justin Fashanu. Rollins was a little heated in the retaliation on Fashanu. He obviously didn't like the challenge, and Fashanu, in fairness, was very heavy in that challenge on Andy Rollins, which dumped him on the seat of his pants. And it would seem, yes, the yellow card goes up for Justin Fashanu. Perhaps the right decision is being made, and that the man who committed the first offence is being booked and not the retaliator. It'll be interesting to see if Brian Daniels proceeds to walk over and deal with Andy Rollins. Certainly going to have a word with him, but he's sending him off. He's sending him off. He's shown the red card to Andy Rollins, and Andy Rollins is off. Well, that's disaster for Brighton. Norwich look set now for their second away victory of the season, unless Brighton can pull something out of the bag at the last minute. Taylor for Norwich. With Bond close. Padden will just get onto that one. Greg Downs on the overlap. Downs, and that's number 4. Well, Kevin Reeves gets on the score sheet, and Brighton now lose a 4th goal to a Norwich side who, let's be fair, have kept attacking right from the start. The danger all started when Downs made the overlap. Nobody really got to him, and when the cross came over, Mosley was unable to do anything about it, and Kevin Reeves had a simple task to knock in number 4.
Well, that was a defeat that puts Brighton at the bottom of the table now, with their next 3 league games: away to Arsenal, at home to Liverpool, away to Nottingham Forest. So you can see there are quite a few problems now for Alan Mullery. Well, that's it for this week. Thank you again for joining us. It was absolutely great to be back again, and this man here certainly made sure we came back with a bang.
Barry Lloyd underneath this one, but beaten in the air by Jones. Armstrong's coming in there. Oh, a tremendous goal by Hoddle. 1-0 to Tottenham.